These three nimitta are there: samadhi, paggaha, and upekha nimitta. So he is saying that the mendicant has to occasionally keep on changing this nimitta, something like that.
What is the sutta number?
Yeah, I got it. AN 3102. And it is repeated in some other sutta also.
AN 3.
3.102.
Hi Guha.
Oh, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening.
Good evening.
Nimitta Sutta.
Yeah.
Good one.
So, quick question. What is samadhi nimittam, pagga nimittam, upekha nimittam, and how we can switch between these three? This line seems more practical, or tips or tricks, the kind of.
Okay.
Since long time I wanted to ask, but it was always very long.
Okay.
So, what is the question? I didn't understand the question.
Now there's one sutta in the Anguttara Nikaya, so that is called as Nimitta Sutta, and in English it is foundations. Okay, so he's saying that Adichitta manyuttena bhikkave bhikkhuna tini nimittani kalena kalam manasi kata vabhani. Okay, kalena kalam samadhi nimittam manasi katabham kalena kalam pagha nimittam manasi katabham kalena kalam upekha nimittam manasi katabham.
Which is that sutta number, Nangutra?
AN 3.102.
Find it.
Okay, now you want to
Still
start.
for Guha has to get in sync with lot of these jargons of sutta, right? Because nimitta in Mahayana is different.
Oh,
Okay,
So,
so now,
there it is for the practice of concentration. Whereas in sutta, nimitta is very technical word. For everything has nimitta. That way.
okay, so
what is the number again?
AN 3.102.
Actually, we started for something else, but
Yeah, we will first finish that and then
I
come back to this.
quick question.
No,
I shared on the Meet link also, Guha. If you
yeah, it is there. So let us first finish this 9 stages and we come back to this. Okay, now what I did in the morning is I was contemplating and then I made that blog as well. So let's go one by one.
Oh, you wrote that blog now, huh?
Yeah, today only. I made that instantaneously as it was coming. I thought, okay, let me not waste my time and put it. Because what happens is when I get that flow and then I might forget it altogether.
Yeah, some of our WhatsApp chat are so important that we should put it in the website.
Yeah. So I thought let me do that. So I've also opened it here so that I don't miss it. Okay, so what is viññanā? Let's start with that. It's good because everything starts with viññanā and very few starts with citta. Now, viññanā means without knowledge. Citta means pure awareness. That's it. Two states of the same consciousness.
Are we recording, no?
Yeah, recording. So, citta is from the root word chit, to shine. Okay. It just shines. Meaning, when we say this word called as aware, that is citta. Okay. And when we describe something, it is viññanā. Meaning, We have Shreyas here, sitting next to me. So we had one meditation session. That describing is viññanā. Got it? Which has two things. One is it has a nimitta, Shreyas, and it has viññanā to describe. If these two things are not there, and I'm able to see it without any prefix, suffix, and all that, and then that is pure citta.
Can you repeat that?
Now, if I am able to see this person sitting behind me, equal to me, same, exactly the same, no difference, that is citta. But if I'm distinguishing between me and him and trying to describe, that is viññanā. So when Buddha talks about chakuncha paticca rupecha uppajjati chakku viññānam, it is already corrupted. Right? It's a corruption. Now, how did it get corrupted is the question. The corruption happens in various stages. So these are the 9 stages. That's what it means. Now, why it should get corrupted, why it could not be pure, is all described in a sutta called as Aganya Sutta. Which
That is conditioning, right? Basic conditioning.
Yeah, basic conditioning, but it has got corrupted even earlier to come as a human being.
Oh.
Okay, so the level of corruptions keep on happening. Yes, Sachin.
Yeah, so my question on WhatsApp was that. So point is it that chitta, mano, manasam, all stage passes through and then it decide, let me pick up chakku or let me pick up this?
No, it's not like that. It's not like that.
Or chakku viññanā itself starts from chitta and
Yes.
gets to viññanā.
See, it's not, no, I think you have misunderstood. There is a chakku, there is a object, which is sight, which is rupa. As soon as the rupa comes, the chakku will join, provided viññanā is there. Okay. Meaning these two don't really mix. Chakku with rupa doesn't mix. How? Let's take an example. If you are watching a movie and you are engrossed in that movie, you would not have smell, you would not have taste, you would not have touch, you would not have thoughts, you wouldn't have many things except for what you are seeing. That means the consciousness blocks the remaining and sticks to one. Movie, you leave it. Let's say painting, same. Forget painting, writing, same. Forget writing, you're in the office, same. You'll forget all about your home. When you are engrossed in something, you forget all about the remaining thing. When I see my wife, then only the wife comes. If I don't see my wife, there is no wife. Even though I have a mother, I have a father, I have so many relations, but when I'm doing something, the mother, the father, the brother, sister, all that will never come. Because
Migala's house, he talks about, where different things leave the house. And it becomes empty in the summer months or something like that.
right. Yes,
So
Sachin.
what you are saying is it is just viññanā, but it is in the context of chakku, we call it chakku viññanā.
Exactly. So correct. Yes.
Okay, continue.
In the Mahatanha Kaya Sutta, he actually gives that example. What you are talking, right? He exactly puts that. He says, my dear friend, because do you see fire there? The fire is based upon wood. We call it as wood fire. In the same way, if the viññanā is like that fire coming out of eye, we call it as chakku viññanā.
Yeah, I have asked this question different way, and all the time you have answered it same way. But I still keep on asking.
Yeah, because you're still not getting it. So unless you get it, you will be asking, and I have no problem with that.
That is also the fire sermon, isn't it, Bilasji? The first sermon he gives.
No, there are many of it. So in this one, with relation to the viññanā, because there is this fisherman. It's a very nice story. The fisherman has understood nicely, but he understands that the same viññanā will now go through many births. It will transmigrate. Yes.
Yeah, so maybe this may come later, but if we say chitta, mano, ayatam, mana indriyam, let's say, mana indriyam, then chakku viññanam, then chakku viññanam, and then viññanam.
No, wait.
Okay.
No, don't bring that up. So let's first sort out viññanā. Otherwise we will go in circles. Yes, Aryu, go ahead.
I was not focusing.
Matthew, mute your.
Yeah, Matthew, I think your mic is a bit noisy. Okay, thank you. Sorry, I wasn't focusing, but so this, you said there's one viññanā powering all 6 senses, right? So it's like the electricity powering 6 bulbs of us, basically.
But when you really don't get it, what happens here is that the confusion would be, what is this viññanā and what is 6 viññanā? And that is exactly the question what is asked in the Mahatanha Sankhya Sutta.
That's what we were talking about some time back.
Yes.
Witness consciousness.
Yes, witness consciousness.
Then we have to name it as 7th consciousness for the time being.
Yes. So, first let us sort out the 6 consciousness, forgetting the 7 one. First we need to understand the 6 properly. So in the Mahatanha Sankhya Sutta, what he says is that, do you see the fire is coming due to wood? Yes. Do you see the fire coming through trash? Yes. Like that. So now he says, do you see the fire coming due to eye? Yes, sir. Do you see the fire coming due to ear? Yes, sir. Like what we did yesterday. We took a matchstick and matchbox and matchstick, rubbed it, light. Now if a question is asked, is the stick dependent on the fire, or the fire is dependent on the stick? What would you answer? Now we lit up yesterday. A question will come. Who is using whom? Is the light, viññanā, using up that stick, or the stick is using up the viññanā?
But in the example of yesterday's example, the consciousness is the grasping onto the kaya, the body, right? And the body has nothing to do with the viññanā.
No, it's not like that. As long as the fuel is there in that stick, this guy is going to be there. Got it?
Otherwise stick, actually it is a air content.
Yeah. So now when we lit up, you could see 2 things. The stick is dry. And in fact, there are many suttas where he asks this question. If the wood is wet, can you light it? And everybody says no. And if the wood is too dry, can you rub it? No, because if you try rubbing it, it becomes into powder. Right? The wood should be dry, but not to an extent that it just breaks, because there's no water. Only when the proper condition is there, you can light up. In the same way, if a consciousness has to land into the womb, everything should match up. Not just by wishing that thing is going to happen. Anyway, we are digressing it, so let's come back to this. So what is viññanā is nothing but I considering as vilas. That is viññanā. Let's take it that way. I am Vilas is viññanā. I am seeing is viññanā. I am hearing is viññanā. I am tasting is viññanā. I am touching is viññanā. I am smelling is viññanā. I am thinking is viññanā. All these 6 eyes are viññanā. Clear? And togetherness, together, is khanda, trunk. So there is one eye and there are 6 eyes also. All eye only. That's complete confusion. When I say I am, what is that? It has to be with 6 senses. I am thinking, I am hearing, I am tasting, I am touching, I am smelling. You can't be explaining anything to anyone without these 6 things. Just think it over. When you say think it over, when I say just think it over, I exactly meant that. Hey, why don't you see? Now your eyes are going to see. Why don't you hear, man? I'm telling you something. Then you lend your ear. Hey, this food is good. Now you are going to put your that viññanā into the taste. Hey, come on, you have dressed inappropriately. You see this? Can't you see this? You use this. And this way of living is viññanā. You understand? That is the 8th stage of citta. Aren't you living in that way? Am I not living in that way? Just think. Now, if I am Vilas, then I should have a title, Mr. If we were using English. So that's the title, Mr. And if a lady is there, they can make it as Mrs. For what reason, I don't know, but that's the convention. If unmarried, you put it as MS, Miss. Why? I don't know. But that is the convention. And she feels she's Miss. And when she marries, she says, I am Mrs. Why? You can be Miss only. No, I am Mrs. Okay. Maybe, for whatever reason. And the church will say, here is the man, here is the woman, and now they both are man and lady, and now they are all married. And they do one ceremony and say that now you are married. Now you can kiss the bride. Why? You could have kissed it even without that. Why I should take a legal permission to kiss? It doesn't matter. I've been kissing her for long. Only in front of the church I am kissing today. Why? This is how viññanā is. And that commonality, if everybody follows, becomes a norm. And once it becomes a norm, it becomes a convention. And once it becomes a convention, it becomes conceptual. And once it becomes conceptual, it becomes reality. And that reality is conceptual reality, which is viññanā. And everybody doing it the same thing is called as culture. And when a particular tradition is doing it, it's called as tradition. So it becomes cultural and traditional. Then it becomes geographical, because that geography is following it. And if the geography is following it, that means the country is following it. If the country is following it, then world is following it. Now, when you do it, can you now say, I'm citta? What? What citta? Who citta? This is the mixing. So when Buddha says, chakku viññanā, it's already corrupted. Got it? And that's the reason he says, viññānam anidasanam anantam sappato pabham. The original state of viññanā should have been anidasana, unmanifested. Nirdeshana in Sanskrit means direction. Anirdarshana is non-directed. That means shouldn't have got manifested as what? As Vilas. Simple. As Mr. Vilas. Now I have an Anagarika Vilas. Who the hell is Anagarika Vilas?
I've been wanting to ask you that for a while. I'm joking.
Okay, now that you ask, I can tell you what it is. Okay. So, first of all, we don't know who the idiot is Vilas. That itself is a confusion. Then we gave him a title Mr. Vilas. And then somebody told him, why don't you put Anagarika? It looks very good for us. So in 2018, I started doing Dhamma Desana for Sri Lankans. Residing in Sri Lanka or outside Sri Lanka. So I met one Thero, and he requested me, you know very good Dhamma. And Sri Lanka is a Dhamma nation. And we're all Buddhist. And you are a very qualified Buddhist. So why don't you do a Desana in English? Because we all speak Sinhala. And those people who can't understand Sinhala in, let us say, London and mostly in Australia. So I had a lot of people following from Australia and also from London. Majorly, there is in London, there is a Vihara. So there are a lot of people from London who were following. So they used to have my Desana, or they asked me to do the Desana in English on every Wednesdays and Fridays, and we moved from Tuesday and Thursday. Okay, and I did successfully for 1 year. Okay, and they used to do the broadcasting and other things. So they used to share it to the world on Facebook and then YouTube and all that. In one of that encounters, one guy became a close friend of mine. He said that, Vilas, it will be good if you add Anagarika in front of you, because you are literally following that. I said, yes, I know that, but you put it. Nobody will say no to it. You can put Bhante, because many people used to call me Bhante Vilas. Even now, many people message me Bhante Vilas. And Bhante means you should have become a recluse. Meaning you should have left your family life and all that. And Anagarika means you can stay with your family life and enjoy everything, but you're still in family life. So the original meaning I was wanting to know. What is Anagarika? It's from two words. An-agara. Agara in Sanskrit and Pali means house. An-agara means houseless or homeless, basically. Now, the depth of that is not your physical home. You have removed 6 homes.
Non-abidance.
No, you have removed 6 houses. Ayatana. Chakku, you have removed it. Sota, you have removed it. Gana, you have removed it. Jiva, you have removed it. Kaya, you have removed it. Mano, you have removed it. You are interacting with your family to finish your obligations only, and not that you have a family. Yes.
Yeah, I think Guha, are you referring to the Diamond Sutra where it's no abiding?
There is no resting place.
Yeah, there is no
Right, so
resting place.
That is what I
meant the 6 ayatana. And not
exactly what I was referring to. Yes.
So when Sariputta is explained that Rupa, Shunyam, like that, so you don't have a resting place, and that is the actual meaning of Anagarika. Meaning each one of these senses don't have a resting place. It just feels that you have a field, but there is no field. Right. Now that's the meaning of Anagarika. So now the viññanā takes what? It's a different name. So it's a happiness there. If somebody calls me Bhante, am I feeling happy or not? Obviously, I feel happy. If they call me Mr. Vilas, I feel. If they say Pandit Vilas, for a change, hey, I'm not a Pandit. Who cares whether you're a Pandit or no Pandit? But the viññanā is already corrupted, right? So I will take either yes, feel happy, no, if I am unhappy. meaning I don't want it. So somebody says, Vilas, are you a Buddhist? Now you tell me, how should I answer this? Vilas, are you a Buddhist?
I hate that question.
No, whether you hate or love, it doesn't matter. That is what viññanā is.
Raga Dvesha, very fundamental Raga Dvesha, but there is no Buddhism, there's no Christianity. It's just a way of living, It's just a
That's
life.
fine, but still, that's convention, right? So when you are going against the norm, you cannot do it physically. You can only do it mentally. Meaning, if somebody in my family asks, how come you turned Buddhist? Now, what should I answer? It's a very difficult question now. Because if I say yes, it becomes absolute sense that I'm a Buddhist. If I say no, then it is lying. You see this one? You are talking on Buddha. As per us, you are a Buddhist.
But if you're devoid of Nama Rupa, Buddhism has no place.
No,
or
that you
role.
leave it. Now, that is separate. That case is separate. Let's first solve this viññanā problem. Then we will come to that. So when we say viññanā, it's corruption. So you have to live within that corruption. Meaning you are pure, but you have to live within corruption. So what you can say? Just smile. You become Buddhist. Like my niece and nephews, and they have asked me, and my sister, oh, you do this Buddhist thing, I don't know. And I said, because I can't say anything other than that. What else can I say? I just smile.
When Buddha was asked, are you a god, are you a devata? He answered with silence.
Yeah, that's the only way.
To that question. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the best way. Because if I tell my sister, why Buddha? Then I have to give a sermon. And that sermon, she doesn't like it anyway, any which way. Now I am trying to convert her to Buddhism. Like one sister, she had come, one of my cousin sister. She came to my home one day. I see you putting on the status. I say yes. Are you paid for converting people to Buddhism? Okay, now hold on. There's still many things to come. I said no. But are you converting people to Buddhism? I just smiled. Then why are you doing this? She wants to know. Her mind is in really stress.
It's very sad that India drove out Buddhism. I hate using the term Buddhism, but the Buddha Dharma, the Buddha teachings had to survive in Sri Lanka and Cambodia and Vietnam and other places. It's very sad.
No, that you leave it, Guha. Let's forget all about our sadness, happiness, and all that.
But that's what I think. This relates to that historically.
I know that, but my question, my thing should be, I shouldn't worry about the past. I'm talking about how I should respond. That's the main thing, right? If the raga dvesha is also there in me, as much as it is there in my sister. If I'm not careful.
Are you saying, should I answer with viññanā or should I answer with citta? Is that your question?
Yeah, so now if I were to answer with citta, just smile. Don't get caught up in these questions, because this is requesting for an absolute answer. Absolutely tell me, are you a Buddhist? Absolutely tell me you are a Hindu. Absolutely are a Christian. Absolutely are an Islam.
Okay, so you mean to say without smile, if I be silent, it could be a corrupted.
Because if
smile is the inherent nature of citta.
Yes, smile is an inherent nature of the citta. So if you are not disturbed in the mind, automatically the smile will come. Not that you should force for a smile. Yes, sir, you go ahead.
Yeah, I read in the Diamond Sutra. I don't know if it's distorted, but it says a Sotapanna shouldn't call himself a Sotapanna and all that, right? Is that for the same reason, or when I read it, I thought that these guys are trying to?
No, you can.
What was that again? I missed that. What was that point?
Yeah.
Should you declare your status? Sotapanna.
Yeah. Should you say I'm Anagami, I'm a Sagadagami? I think the sutta says the Sotapanna shouldn't say I'm a Sotapanna and all that. I don't know if I read it exactly correctly, but I thought it's there.
No, if you go by the sutta, you can. It's up to you whether you want to. If you want to declare it, you can declare. You don't want to declare, you don't have to declare. Yes.
Yeah, well, when I initially read it, I thought these are the Mahayana folks trying to make it so that the Theravadan folks cannot say I'm an Anagami.
Yes, that is there.
I don't know if it's for this reason.
No, it is there. It is always there. In fact, it was initially, Theravada was called as Hinayana. Hina means inferior, because this is Mahayana, that should become
It's the
Hina.
vehicle and the greater vehicle.
Yeah.
But I have two, I don't know if I can bother you with these two important questions. I've been long-term puzzled, but if the discussion is good, we will, I'll pass it on to you. But one, I don't think smiling is an appropriate response to a world in suffering, I feel the Buddha neither smiles. Smile is also an absolute. It's one end of a spectrum. The state of being is neither smiling nor, I think, samadhi is a state that's between. The term bliss or Satchitananda, whatever you call it, is not ananda. It's not really bliss, because you understand the suffering of the world. You understand its illusion, but yet people suffer. The suffering is a reality for that person. So a compassionate person will not smile. So this is a long-term conflict in my understanding and how to interpret,
But practically, I have experienced that when I become very much silent in my meditation, silent occurs. Smile occurs.
Okay. Guha, the thing is like this. There is a Chetasika called as Hasit Utpada. Okay. You're not producing it. If you are in Samadhi, while you're speaking with someone, you're not faking it. You're not trying to produce it either. It's just there. It's not like that. That looks cynical.
And that's a sankhara, right? We're not talking about.
In other words, we can think like this: if someone is in pain, and if you reflect the pain in you also, there is no way of correcting, right? Both are in pain situation. But even while he is in pain, if you can maintain your smile, it could transmit to him. But if you reflect the pain in you, then there is a chance of changing.
I'm going to ask you a deeper question, Sachin. Isn't the smile still within the body-mind construct?
No. We are not talking about the sankhara smile, okay? Like, this smile we are not talking about. Sometimes the inner smile, what we are talking about, will not even be visible outside. We are talking about inner smile. Citta is always smiling. It is the nature. Citta is 24/7 smiling. That's smile.
Okay, so let me give you clarity, Guha. It's like this. So let's say somebody asks something. Forget about being a Buddhist or not being a Buddhist or whatever it is. Conventional matters. It is processed by viññanā. What if it is processed by citta? For a change. That's the difference.
See, the Akosa Sutta, which is a lovely sutta, which I love, in that he says, insult or,
Praise.
Will be extinguished because his flow is the flow of a cooling river that
Correct.
cools a. So the river itself can be considered as a massive flow of energy or whatever, and there is no expression per se of hate or
That is correct. See, now you're
that's what my question is.
I got your question, but you are looking literally of that. There's nothing called literal of it, right? it is the state of mind. When we say state of mind, the mind in English is mind for everything. Now, the 9 stages is just a mind. Now, how can I explain something when you don't have a word to explain that, right? So, it's, you're asking something, saying that there is flow, but it is still. In the Ajahn chart teaching, he uses that word. He says the mind is still, but yet flowing. That's the best example you could give for citta. It's still, but yet flowing. You have only seen stillness. You have seen lake being still. You have seen river flowing. But have you seen a still flowing river?
That comes to your frames of, which you presented.
Ha.
When
So,
multiple frames are presented, it appears still. It's an illusion.
correct. So now, if you were to experience that, when talking, in that, you will have upekha, equanimity.
Correct.
When you have equanimity, there is one chetasika called as hasitutpada. That's a single chetasika. There are 7 universal chetasika. This has become an 8th one in that stage. So it appears on the citta, not on the viññanā. It appears on the citta. So when the person is like that, he is cooled. So you see, Buddha uses a word called siti bhuta. Siti means cool. Bhuta means become.
Being, yeah.
Being or become. So it has become very cool. So when that smile is looked by the other person, he is also is citta, right? There's no person there.
Exactly. That's what I wanted to say there. Even that guy is pure citta, and even that guy is smiling. So in Hinduism, I have heard this. I saw you, Siva. Why are you hiding behind this body? So Siva is talking to Siva himself. There is no pain here, right? When citta is talking to citta.
So then, Guha, what happens is the conceptualization is gone, and that person understands your smile and your silence also. Like in the case of Ramana Maharshi sitting, he never spoke, but the person who came with a question understood his answer itself. You understand? Now he didn't have to use his speech to explain to him.
That is the Mahakashyapa event, the famous Zen episode, where just a smile, let's say, at the angle of Buddha's lip, and Mahakashyapa smiled in response. So, yeah, it's a fascinating. You're giving me an explanation, and I'll try and understand it.
Yeah. So basically, viññanā is corruption. That's all. So if we are able to see the corruption, meaning through Buddha Dhamma, we are trying to understand the corruption. So how is a way to understand corruption is the question. So Buddha came up with dukkha to understand corruption. Most scientific way of coming into understanding that the viññanā is corrupted because it is doing something which doesn't exist. Now what doesn't exist? Anagarika vilas doesn't exist because vilas itself doesn't exist. You think anagarika vilas will exist now?
Correct.
No. Right? So when vilas himself is not existing, why are you latching on to anagarika now?
That's what I meant by Namarupa,
Wait. We are not yet there. So now you already crossed and you came to citta. Hold on. So we'll slowly attack it from all direction, and then only you will, now I get it. So when I let go, again, this is just a word to say let go. There's no way to explain that. Letting go, if somebody asks, like Matt was asking, how to let go. So there's no answer to it. How to let go? You let go. It's like holding something. How to let go? Open your palm. But there's nothing there. But then you have something in your mind. Yes, go ahead.
To let go, you have to identify what you're holding, right? I think that's his question. If you can exactly identify like resistance to letting go, then you can let that go.
Exactly. So now my resistance is anagarika. I could let go vilas because there are thousands of villas. In Maharashtra, if I take the directory, you will get 1 million villas. But if I try to search for anagarika villas, there's only one. There's no one. Am I not feeling happy? And that is the holding. That I'm holding.
It's conceit.
Fine. It's worth it than any other conceit. Why? Because I know Buddha teaching. You ask me anything, I can ask. That's the reason yesterday I just did that pun thing of asking, do I have ego? I had these 9 stages of viññanā, and hence I asked that question. And I don't know, only Sachin answered in some way, but I wanted you guys to think it over. But you just said, I just left it. But today we'll take it out. Now, if vilas exist, there is mana. If anagarika vilas is there, ati mana. It's not just mana, it's ati mana. Why? Because I feel it special. It's a special place. So the viññanā is now anagarika vilas. What's the point? Now, can it go one step behind? No. It will go one step forward, which is viññāna khanda. It holds on to it itself. Now, my sight is anagarika. Why? I'm seeing the Buddha teaching. My ears are Buddha teaching. I'm only hearing Buddha teaching. My touch is only Buddha teaching. My thoughts are all Buddha teaching. My food is also Buddha teaching. Isn't it bad? Is it bad? That's very good. But I cannot proceed further. It locks there. Meaning, if I...
In a sense, it's dangerous.
No, it's not innocence. It is conceit. It's dangerous. Okay. Now, if I'm a sotapanna, I'll remain as sotapanna forever. Because I don't want to let it go. Yes.
Yeah, that's why I heard usually once a person become a teacher, he kind of stalls in his progress, usually.
Yeah. So I have to be careful. Right? I have to be careful. So now, if I have understood this viññāna correctly for my own self completely, then I can go one step behind. That is, before one step is mana, indriya. Okay, now what happens in indriya? If I were to bring in dukkha, as a thing from the Buddha teaching, because I am anagarika, so I know Buddha. So I know Buddha, I know dukkha also, right? Now you bring it there. If I am talking about a female, I can look at what is a female. Right. Asubha bhavana I can bring. Yes.
So again, I will ask the same question. Okay. So can this, why is only mana indriya and not chakku indriya?
No, ultimately, everything is decided by mana. For the 5 senses, they don't have decision power. They just bring in the food.
So that way, mano ubbangama.
That's the reason it is mano.
Even chakku indriya is controlled by mana indriya.
Yes. See,
And in that sense, chakku indriya is not important as long as it's just doing whatever mana indriya is telling it to
see,
do.
if you really see Sachin, there is no indriya called mana. It's a virtual system sitting on a physical system.
Okay, so consortium of all the indriya.
No, it's like asking, do you have, if you have MacBook Air and it has Ventura, show me Ventura. Now you will show me where. It's like asking that. Show me mana. Is it there in the chakku? Yes. It is there in the sota? Yes. Is there in the ghana? Yes. Is there in the jiva? Yes.
Okay.
Is there in the kaya? Yes. Hold on, Aryu. Is it there in the mano also? Yes. What? I always thought that mano is separate. No. Mana indriya. Double one. Now you see the thoughts are coming from mano.
And in Manancha Paticca
Dhamma.
Dhammecha, it is again separate from this or not?
Yes. So what happens if you close all the 5 sense doors? The 6th sense door is capable of creating its own impression. You don't have to provide food for it. It already has the food. Independent.
It will create a virtual world
Exactly.
made up of all these 5.
No. It is with 5. It is without this 5 also.
Yeah. But in contrast, it will see the picture, it will hear the sound, it will create all that.
Yes.
So this manancha, is it the mano or this mano indri?
See, manancha paticca dhammecha upajati mano viññanam. Mano viññanam is not that mano, what is the after citta, what is there. It is just a subjective way of saying that this whole thing is mind.
Yeah, faculty of mind.
The domain of mind is from citta to viññana. Clear?
I was always under the impression that mano is brain.
Now you consider whatever you want to consider, brain, heart. Some people say mana is in the navel. Okay, done. Some people say that it's in the heart. In fact, in Ayurveda, there is a lot of sutras, shlokas, where there is fight between Charaka, Sushruta and Vagbhata on where is mind. There's an entire book. Okay. And in that book, Sushruta says that it is, as far as I know, because he's a surgeon, he says it's in the heart. And Charaka says, I too second it, because all the decisions are taken in the heart. But he says that something also is done in the brain. So, mind is also in the brain, because I can see circuitry. Then he says, then it should be in both, right? It should be in the mind, it should be there in the heart, it should also be there in the brain. But the modern science, when they look at the brain, they find that everything is in the brain. The eye connection is in the brain. The ear connection is in the brain. The nose connection is in the brain. And the mental input, which is reptilian brain, is in the brain only. Where else will you find? In the heart, you will find nothing. So, if you ask a scientist, where is mind? He says brain. Where else? Because electrical impulses are coming where? In the brain.
Reptilian brain can be said as the lower part of the brain and the spine.
Yes. And it connects to the spine. So, the information is flowing to the spine.
But if you ask them where is consciousness, they are very confused.
Yes. Now you can't say anything, right? Because in science, consciousness is different. Mind is different. Now, if you ask this $1 million question, where is consciousness? Particle. So it goes to particle physics.
Now they're talking about a universal waveform. And they say the whole universe is in quantum physics. Whole universe is conscious. So it's a huge area of confusion right now.
Yeah, it would be like that forever. So now the question is, you have a cat. Okay, they're asking what is a cat. It's like that. You have a cat, but they're asking where is the cat. This is the cat. No, this is something else. Show me the cat. Like that, mind is a virtual thing. With the input, the mind comes. No input, no mind. If there were no input, there's no mind. Now, where the question comes, what? Which mind? 9 stages, which mind? That's what we are trying to uncover. Because if you give a blanket statement, no input, no mind, it means you become insane. It's height of insanity that no mind, there is mind. Even then there is mind. But the mind, what we are talking is inputs. So if the input were not to be there, which is indriya samvara, then there is no mind. Correct? That means you are aware yet far away from all the conceptualization.
So the kleshas you talked about covering chit, that was a nice, clear way of putting it.
Yes.
So basically, the indriyas create the kleshas.
Indriya don't create the klesha. Indriya only bring in the food. The mana indriya will take the decision and make it seem like something else. Because it's a faculty by itself. Indriya means it is a sense. It can sense, right? Now, when it can sense, it can do all that what an eye can do, or an ear can do, and a nose can do, and a tongue can do, and a body can do. It can do. Right? It has its own independent way of doing it. Even if you don't give food, it can do what it wants to do. Correct. Now, the only way you can bring this indriya in control is by not giving food. And the only way to not give food is to show it dukkha, of holding on to it. And when the dukkha is seen, it goes one step behind into ayatana. Ayatana is the sense field. That means it is storing there.
It goes one step behind, or we can say next time or not, it will retreat from this.
Whatever. It retreats, goes back, reverses, purifies, whatever the words we can again bring it to make ourselves very comfortable. It purifies. We are
comfortable with purified.
Or we can use another one, reverse osmosis. Better way. Reverse osmosis or purification. Okay. Now what happens? Now this vilas, anagarika, holding on to anagarika is a dukkha, and holding on to vilas also is a dukkha. He sees that, yeah, vilas existed? No. Oh, vilas doesn't exist. Will anagarika exist then, independent of vilas? No. Oh, if the body itself is gone, will vilas and anagarika exist? No. Am I not being stupid? Yes. Oh. Where am I storing it? It's a variable, if I were to use a software term. So I'm just putting it somewhere which doesn't exist. That's the field. Now I can see the chakku which is bringing in, it's bringing what? Same thing. Now there is this guy Shreyas. Does Shreyas exist in that way? No, it's a name. It's a construct.
Dangling pointer in software.
Yeah. So it's just a name, a convention. Hey body, how are you doing? Instead of that, I can say, hey Shreyas. Otherwise, I have to say, a dark body sitting here with beard grown, mustache grown, and hairs grown like this. You're tall, you're fat, you're something like that. Instead of like, hey Shreyas, how are you? And I don't have to put so much of effort in explaining that person. So I use the name. Ayatana is just that, just the field. So the possession is where? In the ayatana. So when I say I'm a sakadagami means where? That mana ayatana, chakku ayatana, sota ayatana, ghana ayatana, jiva ayatana is not there. There's no possession. He has understood. aha moment has come, or wow moment has come for him. So he lets go of it. Because it's not there. What is there in catching which doesn't even exist?
So the process of recognizing Shreyas as Shreyas requires input of memory. Is that the...
No, memory would be there. Guha, all that will work. But there is no feeling of Shreyas. The problem is with feeling. See, Vilas is a feeling. It's not real. See, if you ask me, are you Vilas? It's a feeling of Vilas which I'm holding on to. See, somebody in Sri Lanka told me, you name yourself as Vilas. Anagarika. They didn't give me a certificate of merit saying that from to so and so you are called as Anagarika and you are being re-Christianed and you should be very happy, and this certificate of merit goes to this person who has such a knowledge in Buddha Dhamma that even all Sri Lankans were surprised to know from person from India who has done so well, and we are now giving him. So what they would have given me, even if they would have given me a plaque, wood, right, or paper. What I could have done, brought back home, put a nice frame like what I put for that Buddha thing, and put it on the wall. Now my certificate says when? 2028 to 2048. The next time I need to go for renewal only in 2048 if I am alive. At present I am in my 50s. So 2048 means so many years. Who knows? I would have become another frame there. Born so and so date and died so and so date as Anagarika Vilas. Clear? This stupidity is stored where? In Mana Ayatana. You got it?
I ask quick question.
Yes, go ahead.
Whatever this aha moment or by practice, when these things happen, changes happen. Actually, what happens that we call it purified? I mean, suddenly.
What happens? What happens? I didn't get that.
Actually, what happens in citta or meno or brain or whatever?
Actually, what happens?
Due to aha moment or due to a long practice.
What happens here? Good question. Only single answer. The klesha gets dropped. Whatever was holding will get dropped. Okay, you got it. That's all what it is. If the raga was holding it,
you lose something. You don't gain anything.
You don't gain anything. So, and hence there's a relief, actually. Yes, sir.
I think all the way you feel like these 5 or 6 light bulbs are interesting, so you keep on lighting them. But upon seeing the dukkha, you start turning them off. And when you turn off, the electricity is, back.
Same.
You feel the bliss. Now it doesn't.
Correct. That is slightly complicated, Aryu. So the very simple way of put it is that hindrances are removed. Whatever was hindering, fetters or hindrance or whatever you want to call will get removed. So you feel light, you feel relaxed. See, if somebody comes and says, hey Vilas, the Vilas itself is not there. Are you gone crazy? Why are you holding on to Anagarika? And Vilas gets aha moment. Oh shucks, it's just a name. Oh my God. All the fight was for this Anagarika. And somebody says, Vilas, I'm telling you, you remove Anagarika, otherwise we're going to put you in court. Drop it. No, what is there? From today, I'll not put Anagarika. Oh, what's your... You are Anagarika inside, not that title outside, right? It doesn't matter. Does it compromise your happiness? No. The dukkha has come. Why? Anagarika, that's all. So I'm fighting for Anagarika. If you really see, it's bullshit. Anagarika, no Anagarika, how does it matter? But I want. That is viññanā. Because of the mana indriya, which is holding to that. Because of the ayatana. If you clear the ayatana, it's like a caching in software. You remove the cache, clear out the cache. Gone. If somebody says that you are not anagarika, thank you. So much of stress is gone. But vilas is there, right? And somebody says you are not vilas. Anyway, I am not vilas. Who said I am vilas? If somebody has named me, tomorrow he will say you are Kumar. Okay, I am Kumar. See, when they ordain, what do? They put one another name, right? And isn't that person accepting to that? Swami Sachidananda Murti. He was not Sachidananda Murti earlier. Or Ajan so and so. He is accepting to it. Bhante so and so. He is accepting to it. It's just title.
If the Ryu had been born in Karnataka, he would have been named Vilas. And if you had been born in California, probably your parents would have named you Ryu. So the name is just plastered on. It's part of the conditioning response.
That's all. So I'm fighting for what? The name. So 8 different ways of looking at life, which we all call as life, is number 1, profit loss. Without that certificate, there is loss. Now, I require name and fame. Fame, defame. Now I'm defamed that you are not anagarika. It's such a pain. All along my videos are with anagarika vilas, and from today, oh shucks, no anagarika. Man, who is going to look at my videos? And my market rating is going to come down. Oh shucks, man, I can't live with it. Subscribers will go away. They'll run away.
Jiddu Krishnamurti said, beautiful statement, I love this. He said, it is not a measure of health to tell everybody that you're well adjusted to a profoundly sick society.
Yeah.
To meet the requirements of society, we make ourselves sick,
Yeah, you need to be sick. Yeah. So now, if I don't have that, I've seen the dukkha in all the 3 of them. Now the going is easier. The going, getting tough was these 3. Now the going back is even more easier, actually. Why? Because after mana ayatana, it is pandara, which is intellect. It has a discriminatory power called as viveka. It can discriminate between right and wrong. That's
what
viveka.
they call it, conscience, I guess.
Yeah, conscience. Yeah.
Western conscience.
Yeah, conscience. It knows what should be taken and what should not be taken. And since it is clear till here, it drops off. Says that I don't care. I sincerely don't care. Okay. You know what you are. That's all what is required. Know yourself. So in every religion, say know thyself. So you know yourself. When you know yourself, why you should worry about what others know about you? So you start the withdrawal. So when it comes to hadayam, it's in a withdrawal state of mind. Because you don't see anything other than the dhatu. So you are free. In the heart, holding. Heart is not holding. No upadana. It's not holding on to it. Because there is no craving in the heart. So when there is no craving, the going is even more easy. Why? Because after hadayam, it is manasam.
So hadayam is Pali for hridayam, right?
Hridayam, yes, hridaya. So all the things, emotions are happening in hridaya. So there are no emotions for you. Why? Because you've seen it. It's just a fake thing. It's literally fake. Every word was fake. You say, if somebody says, Vilas, you are an idiot. Perfect, man. Perfect definition. Who? For Vilas, you are not Vilas. So how does it matter to you? See, insult is to whom? You can only use 2 ways of insulting a person. Either through his body, called as body shaming, or through his mind by his name. In the hadaya, no body exists, nor mind exists. So what will happen? The experiencer itself is refined. He withdraws. When the manasam, it's detachment. So at the time of an arhat, he can come till manasam to recognize the object and say, hey, Shreyas, how are you? How are things with you? He knows there is no Shreyas sitting there in the first place. Just for the heck of it. Shreyas, how things? Guha, how things with you? But he doesn't get angry because there is no person sitting there to get angry. He doesn't feel elevated. Shreyas, you're sitting here, so nice. No. Gambhira, meaning serious. But yet smiling because that Hasit Utpada is always there. Then it comes one level below. Mano. It's complete withdrawal. Mano Pubbangama Dhamma. Now this Mano knows everything. The knower, the perceiver, it exactly knows what is real, what is unreal. The corruption not being there. It's like flapping oneself back to the citta, which is just aware. I'm aware.
But there's no duality of right and wrong, is there in citta?
Nothing. Okay, my question to you, you have put on light. Does it have duality between it should light on this and shouldn't be lighting on that? No.
But the duality of light and dark is...
No. As soon as you put light, the darkness is gone. Light and dark cannot remain same. Both cannot remain. The moment you put light, it doesn't matter where it lights. Like sun. If sun is there, you can't call there should be darkness along with it. No. Only if there is something which is obstructing the sun, then that place has a shadow. Otherwise, no. Yes, are you?
Yeah, just a quick clarification. This mano is not when we talk about six sense mano. It's not
just mano. Just leave it to mano. So don't get too bothered about whether this mano that, because again we are getting into conceptualization, which is viññanā. So again we have to pull back. We already had enough of this viññanā. So let's leave it for time being, and then we will look into that some other day. Yes.
In today's parlance, there's the old story of the empty boat collision, right? It says, I don't know if it's Zen or whatever. When you collide, two boats collide, and there's a boatman sitting in each boat, then a fight starts. But at night, it's dark, and you collide with an empty boat. Who can you shout? Because the other person, the boat is empty. So it's saying in today's parlance, it'll be you're driving a car and you hit a driverless car. What do you do?
Exactly. Now you shout at it and you find there's no driver, and then you don't know what to do, and you can't smile. You get embarrassed basically, right? And this viññanā is like that. So when you're in citta, it's pure. So rebirth is viññanā. Citta is nothing.
So my big question is, even citta has to be transcended, correct?
Don't worry. Don't worry about that. Again, it becomes a concept. Now you tell me how to transcend. Again, it goes back to the initial stage. See, in Buddha's word, there's only one way he explains it. He says, Pabhasaram idam chittam. But it is obscured by kleshas or asavas. That's it. All by whatever way you want. Whether you will again come back, don't come back, coming here. And he says in the Nidana Sutta, the unfortunate thing is when the Nama Rupa and Viññanā Nama Rupa coexist, you have to use all the definitions, saying that is coming, going, hearing, this one, that one, because that is how it is. There's no other way. So now transcending the word means that there is something higher.
That's the wrong way of putting it. So chitta actually, there's no space for words in chitta, right? There's
Yeah. There's nothing, no expression.
In a way, you can call it transcending language. In a way.
In a way, just to, it's like saying, does the sun transcend darkness? And the answer is yes.
So my understanding is, it might be mistaken, understanding is cognitive, within the cognitive framework, is that when he sits and meditates on the full moon night, Sujata has given him the porridge, and he knows with conviction that tonight is the big night. He's going to make it. And he has left Alara Kalama and Ramaputta and all that. He's come on his own journey, and he gets a strong conviction that tonight it's going to happen. What actually happens? Does he pure chitta? No, I know it's very hard to conceive. It's an unconceivable state.
No, you can still conceive. What I'm telling you is, in 6 years of his journey in the Bodhi Rajakumara Sutta, MN 85, he explains all his pains. Okay. Then he reflects upon. Now, who reflects upon? The viññanā starts to reflect upon, like what we have spoken so far. Comes to mano. It's peace. And he finds that this conceptual knowledge is actually a problem.
Correct.
So he drops it. Why it is like that? When he learned from Alara Kalama and Uddaka Ramaputta, it's not that he did a mistake. He found that after coming out of that jhana, he was still a normal person. What is normal? He was remembering Yashodhara, his wife. He was remembering Rahula. He was remembering his palace. He was remembering the promise he made to Bimbasara, that once he finds out the truth, he will come back and explain to him. He was remembering everything. That means still the perception and the feeling exist in me. So only when I withdraw, that time nothing is there. So what Alara Kalama and Uddaka Ramaputta taught him is to withdraw in the samadhi. But when you're out of the samadhi, you are the same person.
It's similar to Vipassana, right? So
No.
When you're in the 10 days retreat, they find great
That's
things.
correct. That's correct.
They come out, they get back into their
Exactly. So all of that will be like that. I'll just give it to Aryu. He's been lifting his hand. So let me finish up with him. Yes, Aryu.
No, just kind of a quick question. So once you start withdrawing the senses, you start to get into jhana, let's say, right? So you're in, let's say, the 5 senses, you're withdrawn the consciousness from there, back. But in the mind, let's say even if you get to the 8th jhana, you still feel like I'm in the 8th jhana, right?
Yes.
Does that mean the mind is not yet at the manasa level?
It is, but it is not reached the chitta level to be completely devoid of everything. The shunyata is not there.
So it's not getting purified.
It's purified, but it is not in shunyata. The test is 7 plus 3. It should lead to nibbida, disillusionment. It was not. When he comes out of that, he is still in illusion.
Okay. So meditation is the way of taking everything back, but still due to defilement not being cleared, it again goes out.
Exactly. So the 7, just for the sake of everyone, is it should lead to disillusionment, then it should lead to dispassion, okay, cessation, nirodha, okay, upasamaya is peace, abhinyaya, seeing it in a different way, not in the same way. That means he should have been able to see Yashodhara as just bones and flesh, but he was seeing it as Yashodhara. He was seeing his father as father. He was seeing all the pains coming with him, with his friends and all that, right? So it was taking him. Now, abhinyaya, sambodhaya, there was no bodhi to know the reality. Nibbana is not there. He didn't achieve the peace, what he was in search for. Plus 3, animitta, it's still nimitta. Apanihita, still desire is there. Shunyata, it's still not empty. 7 plus 3. So that triggered him to go in search of reality through Jain tradition. Because at that time, Mahavira's tradition was the strongest.
But I thought the Mahavira folks came and they got converted to Buddhism. Many
No,
of
no,
them
it's not
did.
like that. The Rishabha is the first Tirthankara. It's running parallel. Okay. The Brahminical culture also runs parallel. So there is Brahmins, there is Shramana, which is Rishabh and all that, the 24th and the 23rd Tirthankara, and then Mahavira is the 24th Tirthankara. And the Buddhas, all the Buddhas, they run parallel to each other. They're like 3 streams. As long as the Buddha existed, so long Buddha means not the Gautama Buddha. As long as many Buddhas existed, so long the Shramana Marga also existed, so long the Ajivikas also existed. So we can't say only Gautama Buddha time this thing, no. So whatever we call as Brahminical, what it means, so we need to understand what it is. It means the origin. So if I say I'm a Brahmin, I'm a person who is looking at the origin. From where did I start? So I am come from the Brahma, the Mahabrahma. So I have to go back to my home. My home is not here. My home is back in the Brahma realm. So I need to find a way. I've forgotten the way to go back to the Brahma realm. So I need to appease the gods to take me back there. Deva. The Prajapati is the person.
The Western audience always confuses Brahmin, Brahma, Brahman, Parabrahman. They don't know the difference, unfortunately.
Not only Westerners, even if you look at the Indians.
Yeah, it's very sad that I see
No,
that.
that's okay. See, these distortions. These distortions are bound to be there. Because everything starts with that root word brah, to expand. So if you say Brahman, to expand, Brahma expanded, Brahmin, one who is expanded, right? So now when I put that, whichever way I put it, if I am a Brahmin, if I want to be a Brahmin, I need to have 2 things. One, I need to know the ritual through which I go back to that existence. 2 is that I should know that I come from the Brahma. So acceptance and leaving out the expectation is what Nibbana instant is. Whether I follow this path or that path, it doesn't matter. But the Buddha path is straight. So it's better to follow a straight road. As simple as that. Not criticizing or appreciating the other road, saying that that is also a good road. This is also a good road. That is horrible road. That is. So he calls it itta bhava, anyatta bhava. Thisness and otherwiseness. So now that is otherwiseness. So I become slave to my own opinions. Forget about other people's opinion. That's the point. Okay, so let me. He's also having lunch at out of home. So
beautiful discussion. Thank you very much. This is
sure.
a good, honest session. I think it was. I've not talked like this in a long time, so somehow I opened out and presented aspects,
Absolutely
and I
fair.
think it's uncovered some things in my own consciousness. So.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, then Sachin, good day to you and see you. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.
Bye.